At 29K, I mean, I wasn't even aware that a GTI could drive this 2024 Volkswagen GTI 380S owned by Kyle. And a stock GTI, this is not. This is the last model year, 2024, where they offered a manual transmission. Moving forward with the 2025 and onward, no more manual. So the question today is, how does this fare and what kind of driving experience does it give you for that price point? We're powered by a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 that stock makes 241 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. But here we have an 034 Motorsport Stage 1 E85 tune making 394 horsepower, 418 pound-feet to the crank. We have S34 carbon intake with turbo inlet and billet catch can. As always, full mod list is down in the description. For suspension, we have the factory adaptive DCC struts and springs, which has 15 adjustable settings, which seems excessive. Several other supporting suspension mods as well that give us an additional 0.5 degrees of caster, and the camber is set at -2 up front. As far as brakes go, DS 2500 pads with Motul RBF 660 fluid. We have some shifter upgrades. It's the OEM VW Audi short shifter, which actually reduces the throws by 20%, a solid shifter bushing kit, and a leather weighted shift knob. These have an MSRP of $34,000, but the owner is saying that you can get a GTI below sticker right now. He got his for about 29K, 31 out the door. And I'm curious to see at that price point, which in 2025, that is not a lot of money for a car. The average purchase price of a vehicle is what, like 45K plus now? What kind of driving experience do you get? The owner has, of course, done some mods to bring out the best from this car and this platform. We also have the black roof, black mirror cap standard, adaptive dampers also standard. And for those who don't know, the 380 is actually the chassis code for this Mark 8 GTI. We have the cloth clad interior. And this weighted shift knob, you'll see many times in a lot of VWs. It pairs nicely. It feels good. Adds a little bit of slickness to the shifter experience. And in terms of seating position, we're actually not in a bad spot. With a GTI, you're expecting to be a little bit more upright, but I love how far the steering wheel telescopes, so you're not going to need a steering wheel spacer if you're a taller driver. We have these capacitive touch buttons, which are very polarizing, let's just say that. And we can choose from all these various screens on the dash. Let's do this one. It's the most classic looking, most driver-centric, and it matches this Bulova Lunar Pilot watch quite nicely too. It's the second watch worn on the moon after the Omega Speedmaster. We have different drive modes here, and when you customize your suspension, you have all these stages. It seems excessive, but you actually get a good amount of variation going from comfort to sport. And to turn traction off, you have to go here, do your little thing. Wish it was just a button, but that's what we get with the Mark 8. Ho-ho! A little bit of wheel hop right there. This is a lot of power for a car like this. Holy. The car only weighs 3,150 pounds, and the owner has added a lot more power and torque to this thing. All of that is going to the front axle only. Love the sound too. More throaty than I was expecting. So it looks like a soft limiter there. I think when you actually go to sport mode, that might change. Let's see. Seat's not giving me as much support as I would like, honestly. The mods the owner has done, the performance envelope has increased, but the seats are the same stock seats. There we go. Get a sportier rev limit there in sport mode. Dies off a little bit as you approach red line. And we're clearly in boost threshold here. Not too bad of lag. You know, we're up at 5K. We give it the beans. Really sliding a lot in the seat. But I'm impressed right now, man. the power and suspension mods are very welcome. Man, a lot of torque steer. Now, compared to the other GTIs that I've driven, this feels quite a bit more buttoned down. You can feel that added rigidity to both the front and the rear with the suspension mods that the owner has done. Brakes are feeling nice. I mean, DS2500 pads are great for aggressive street use, not so great for track. Oh, yes. Oh, we got our tow hook that is sliding around down there. That's not good. Oh. Oh man, you can really feel that LSD really trying to put the power down, but there's a lot of power here. I'm impressed. I've driven other GTIs and I wasn't expecting this level of, I'm just laughing more than I was expecting. This is a hilarious car. You're putting a lot of power through the front axle, and it's not in a like a disconcerting way. It goes to the front axle, which is a lot, but with the supporting suspension mods, you have this level of plantedness and rigidity and connectedness that adds confidence. So you're in a good spot there with the suspension and the engine mods actually matching, and both equally elevating the driving experience and the performance envelope here. Brakes are not as linear as I would like, honestly. Pretty dead at the beginning, and then it ramps up quite a bit. So a little bit of a learning curve with the brake pedal, and it's, you know, something you'll totally get used to when you own this car. But that does make, you have to think about the braking a little bit, and when you heel toe, you have to be mindful of that to not have rough heel toe downshifts. Steering is actually pretty direct, and you're getting a little bit of feedback. Again, I give credit to the owner's mods to the suspension and alignment. You know, adding the caster is going to help a lot with feedback, and also stiffening up those various components. Wild that he got this for $29K. Of course, he's put a lot more money into this with mods, but at $29K, I mean, I wasn't even aware that a GTI could drive this. It could be this fun. Honestly, like, I've driven a lot of GTIs and I appreciate what they are, but, you know, these mods have really elevated the experience. Even the shifter is normally a little bit loose, a little bit vague, and too long of throws. It's still on the longer side, even though it's now shortened with the short shift kit by 20%. It is still on the long side, but it feels congruent with the other inputs. You know, you don't want a super short, notchy shifter if the steering is slow. Dude, what a riot, man. What a riot. You don't want any more power going through the front axle, dude. Already overwhelming the tires and getting some hop and a good amount of torque steer. But yeah, so you have like the shifter that is tight and sportier than stock. The steering feels sharper, sportier than stock. Nice natural ratio, pretty direct for what this is. Brakes, I would say, maybe a little bit sportier would match the other things, but again, most things here are feeling pretty congruent. You're still in a fairly upright seating posture. This is a Golf at the end of the day. This is a GTI, not a dedicated sports car. Traction, even when you turn it off, still does kick in. There might be like some pedal dance or some other way to fully deactivate. And as we play around with these settings, I was actually quite impressed by the range, like just going from comfort to sport, which is not even the softest to the hardest setting, right? There's a few notches away from either extreme. You notice a pretty substantial difference. And I think for a bumpy road like this, sport mode actually felt pretty dialed in. If we go now to custom, it's in the stiffest mode, and you feel a pretty significant difference. I'm actually quite impressed at the quality of these adaptive dampers and the magnitude difference that you get. If certain Lexus vehicles are on one end of the spectrum where it's like, wait, what does this thing even do because it's so minor? This is on the other end of the spectrum where it's such a huge magnitude shift. And when you first see the 15 stages or however many adjustment points there are, you think that's excessive, and then you actually try them out and you say, wow, even going from sport to the hardest setting is noticeably different. If this was a smoother road or if I was on track, then yeah, I may want to do the hardest setting or closer to the hardest setting. Yeah, this is definitely overdamped. Pretty harsh. Minor pogo sticking. Let's go back to sport. Yeah, really impressive adaptive dampers, especially at this price point. That's nuts, man. A $34,000, and again, you can get it even below sticker. Adaptive dampers of this quality and this range is really unexpected. I've never seen something like that at this price point before. I think sport is actually a very good spot for a bumpy road like this. You're getting that good body control and that good communication and immediacy with the car without it being a punishing ride. And then, when you want to cruise home in comfort, you go into comfort mode, or even here with custom, well, can't show you now, but you could go even softer than comfort. And I love that. Big kudos to the owner, Kyle. Very tasteful mods, well done. Big shout out to Fenton from the Zygreen channel for making this review possible. My friends, if you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. Much love, and I'll see you all in the next one.